Do you still follow WWE now? Are you still?
Yeah, yeah, because I think once things kind of start to lighten up, hopefully,
Can you enjoy it as a fan, or is it like are you too close to it?
I try. It's tough right now for me because the product has changed so much, and it's kind of soft.
Are you gonna get in trouble for saying that?
Probably. I probably piss a lot of people off, but they need to hear it. I
Right.
mean, it is what it is. But to the young guys, oh, he's a bitter old guy.
Right.
I'm not bitter. I did my time. I'm good. I walked away when I wanted to walk away. I just think the product is a little soft. There's guys. There's guys here and there that have an edge to them. But there's too much pretty, not enough substance, I think, right now.
That was so awesome to hear that. I mean, that was incredible. The Undertaker just pretty much laid it all out there, probably better than anyone has in any of the kayfabe commentaries, any shoot interview. Just basically said it straight up. It's a soft product. It's what I say pretty much every single week in my reviews. It's like there's potential there with people, but it is just, it's not good. There is too much of stuff going on where it's just not up to par where it used to be. And I'm even noticing this, like even going back watching stuff from even when the product wasn't great, like from 96 and like 95, like there was just always there was an element there of where these guys were just the real deal. Even like now, even though they weren't being booked properly, they just were way more authentic now. Like now you just got a bunch of guys just thrown out there, just like what Undertaker said. Just way too much pretty with no substance. There's no characters. There's no nothing. There's, you see it all the time. Like, we've got a great template for a character with Roman Reigns, right? So there you have it. Like, there's something right there where it's pretty. It looks good. They've put it in a nice box with a nice ribbon and everything. But when you open it up, it's the same shit every week. You're not getting any substance there. You're not getting anything good. And that is basically what The Undertaker is saying. And everyone is shitting on this guy. They are just really being disrespectful to The Undertaker. And just really just like, I know what they want to do here. I kind of see that they're kind of trying to look good, for in front of McMahon and just be like, oh well, no, this product is great, it's sensational. So I wanted to pull up some of these comments here to share with everybody. So we've got Drew McIntyre here, of course, jumping to the defense because he's the champion, so he doesn't want to look bad in front of Vince. He goes, I don't agree whatsoever. He said this in an interview with Sportskeeda. So especially from an in-ring perspective, I've listened to part of it. I've got to listen to the whole thing. It's pretty new, but I think he may have been referring to like the kind of storylines and characters, etc. No, I think he was just pretty much referring to the fact that it sucks. It sucks, Drew. It truly does. I mean, I get it. He's kind of like Drew is in a tight spot here, and he was being, interviewed, kind of, I guess, being put on the spot, so we can't really expect him to say he's right. But this is the example of, like, no one wanting to tell McMahon that the product just sucks, and maybe they could play in a role in making the product better. Xavier Woods, he put out a tweet here. I wouldn't be the person that I am without the guidance and lessons of a few key people from the previous generation of wrestling. They taught me about the business to save my money and that having video games in the locker room is healthier than having redacted. Thank you, guys. So The Undertaker, I think he goes on to say something about video games. The thing is, it's true. Like, these guys should be working on getting acting lessons. They should be getting more advice. If he's talking about like Shawn Michaels and Triple H and these people at the Performance Center and they're just like really sugarcoating and everything and making nicey nice, and you don't have the hardcore Hollies to build the Motts. You don't have these people from the past training these people, and they're all just they're being a bunch of goofballs basically. So Xavier Woods saying what he's got to say here. It's kind of like a backhanded compliment in a way, and he's obviously referencing what was redacted, probably means drugs or something like that. Then Trent has to say something completely stupid in response to Tom Pritchard. Require listening for wrestlers, and play wrestlers. Really listen. Toxic, really? And Trent Beretta from the Best Friends in AEW says, bad take, the Undertaker needs to be put in jail. This comment is like totally idiotic. He looks like a fucking idiot saying this basically. Who's this? Tani? Says Bruiser Brody got murdered. Who is this jabroni? This isn't even anybody. So anyway, like, you got a few comments there. No one really substantial or worth a damn. Right there. Like, I'm sure a lot of people were going to echo Trent Beretta's sentiments, just not understanding what the man is trying to say there. He's trying to help you. He's trying to bring you back to reality and make you realize that this product is not good. You're not putting on a good show just because you're doing a bunch of moves. And Trent Beretta, of all people, all this guy knows how to do is just be a high-flying goofball with no substance or anything like that. But he's basically going to make a retarded comment in response. So this is a guy where, he's empty-headed, he's a complete airhead, he's not even going to pay attention to anything the Undertaker said, because he feels that he's the new generation. He's doing, what needs to be done, and that's why the ratings are horrible and no one's watching wrestling and they're not bringing any new audiences because the Undertaker's wrong, right? That's why the wrestling business is in the spot that it's in. This is why you have to tarp everything off in the arena prior to COVID, right? Because the Undertaker is wrong, right? It's not like the Undertaker lived through the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era, and he's lived through the times when wrestling was successful, so he might know a thing or two about what it takes, at least to make wrestling credible, right? But the guy has no idea what he's talking about, right? He's just a crazy old man. This is one of the most over wrestlers of all time giving you a piece of advice that you should be taking to heart. You should be thankful that The Undertaker has even, told you this truth, because this is exactly what you need to hear. And as far as I'm concerned, the whole entire Joe Rogan interview should have been just this. Undertaker saying more to the younger crowd. He needs to just cut a whole shoot promo, just open everything wide open, just tell us everything that you saw, just how, and give us specific examples. Name names. Tell us exactly who the biggest goofballs are, who's truly bringing down the product. Blow the lid off of this, because I think that would be fantastic. Because this is exactly what they need to hear. They need to get riled up, and they're not going to pay attention to The Undertaker. Because why? Because they're just that. They're a bunch of goofballs. They don't know what's good for them. They needed to hear this, but they don't know that they needed to hear this. See, that's the problem. That's the problem with something like this. It's shocking to them because you only have like one voice saying it and like a few others, right? So it's not enough. There's not enough voices saying this. Shawn Michaels started to say this, but then what? Oh, they made him a trainer at NXT. At the Performance Center. I can't make any more bad comments. See, because you flash a few dollars in front of one of these guys and they'll just shut up and they'll act like everything is fine. It really shows the power of the dollar, and that anyone, like the $1 Million Man said, everybody has a price, even if you're Shawn Michaels, whatever the case may be. But now that The Undertaker does seem like he is retired and he looks like he is done, and I didn't believe it at first at Survivor Series. I don't think he's coming back for Mania. I think that this truly might be it for him. Because especially, now he kind of seems like he's getting looser lips on the product. He's really coming loose with it. And he did say something like this prior. I remember, didn't he give like a big like talk in front of a big audience? And I remember he said something similar. Maybe not to the effect of this, but he kind of alluded to the fact that the wrestling product is watered down and wishy-washy. But this was laid out in a way where just Taker basically said it perfectly. And he didn't say it disrespectfully. He didn't just, go full force and and belligerently attack everybody. No, he laid it out nice, and he put in a respectful way that this is just not the way how things used to be, and this is why it's not good anymore. And people think what they're doing is great. I don't know how they're living in this fantasy world believing that what they're putting out there is great, because people are telling them that it's good. The people in AEW, the Tony Khans of the world, the Triple H's of the world are telling them that this is good stuff that they're doing, when it's not, when it's the exact opposite. So I guess that's what it is, because, like Xavier Woods is saying, they're listening to people from the previous generation. They are, right? That would be Triple H. That would be Shawn Michaels. That would be Matt Bloom at the Performance Center, right? Or Sarah Del Rey, right? Those are people from the previous generation. Even if it doesn't really seem that long ago, it somewhat is. But it really, they need to listen to this podcast, and they probably didn't even listen to the whole podcast. That's the other thing, like Drew McIntyre even said. But really, you kind of don't really need to, because this is the part that you truly need to hear. Because the rest is just basically Taker talking about his experience, his retirement. It's a good interview with Joe Rogan. I've listened to a great majority of it, actually. And it truly is worth the listen. But people are just going to keep on saying what they keep on saying. They're in the ears of all these younger wrestlers, and they keep telling them what they're doing is good. But people like Drew McIntyre, they've been in this business for a long time. What has he said? He's been in it for 18 years. It's time to kind of wise up and realize that, you've been in a product now that's been on the downward spiral now for a long time. Like, what is the fantasy world that they keep living in? Like, what are they looking at in terms of the ratings? The fact that you struggle to get 2 million views every week, and you think Taker is wrong? And AEW with 700,000 views, they're getting even less views, but because they're grabbing that demographic that they're after, and Tony Khan is telling them they're doing a good job. And because the dirt sheets are saying, oh, well, when Raw's ratings are dropping because the gap is closing between Dynamite and Raw, that's a good thing. That is what they're aspiring to. Those are not aspirations right there. That is a recipe for disaster. That is a recipe for failure right there. So there you go, guys. That's my reaction. I think it was a good Undertaker interview. I think that was one of the best quotes I've ever heard in a shoot interview that was not even meant to be a shoot interview. It's just supposed to be a casual interview with Joe Rogan. And I think it was a good thing, a really good thing for the wrestling business. Even if it is something that these jabronis of the current generation of stars, or lack thereof, we're using the term stars, weren't ready to hear and couldn't cope with it. It really just shows that they are SJWs. And, Xavier Woods, guys, you look at that guy and you just, Xavier Woods, what do you see him going out there every single week doing? And then you kind of just transpose that next to what Undertaker said. And then you just, you just get to see exactly what he's talking about. Just put on anything recently from Xavier Woods, and you will see exactly what Undertaker means when he says soft. Just put Undertaker and Xavier Woods side by side, and you'll see exactly what he's talking about. Anyway, guys, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all notifications when I post all my new videos. I want to thank all my patrons for your continued support. And thanks again, guys, for watching. I'll see you next time.